Welcome to another AMA with Kadena Project Network. In this episode, we'll be speaking with the team from Spend Yacht Club. This conversation was recorded on November 16th, 2022, live on Twitter Spaces. The views and expressions in this AMA do not represent the views of KPN directly and are not to be considered as financial advice. Please make sure to do your own research on the projects presented. Also make sure to follow our account to be alerted of new uploads. Now let's get started. Enjoy. Welcome everybody to another AMA with Kadena Project Network. Today we are talking with Spend Yacht Club, catching up with them and seeing what they've been up to for the past couple months. So why don't you just start off quickly with, again, a little introduction about yourself, what Spend is all about, and just a quick little, I guess, summary of what you guys have kind of been up to.
Perfect. Yeah. Thanks for having us back. We always love to come on, and be a part of what you guys are doing. We appreciate you, creating the space for us to come talk about our project. We are Spend Yacht Club. We've had a lot been going on recently, but for the basics of what our project is we are a Kadena mining NFT that strives to put as much of the mint funds back into mining and therefore be the most profitable mining project on Kadena. And we do that by, getting into immersion cooling, which allows us to overclock our miners, putting 90% of our mint funds directly into mining, and some other great things. So that's the short, simple, sweet what we do. And yeah.
So you guys started your mint a little while ago. I noticed you pretty much having people go directly through the wallets themselves. Now, I don't know if I haven't checked lately, but have you guys actually got into a Connect wallet? Oh, I see there's a Connect wallet option and everything now. It looks like you've actually built out your actual minting system. So how are the mints going?
Yeah, most certainly. So Bitmain surprised us earlier last month with telling us that there was 3 days until they were taking payments for the KA3 miners, and they're the most profitable miners in the world, and we wanted to get as many of them as possible. So we had intended to have half a month more to get our minting website done, and when we saw we got to be ready in 3 days to get these miners, we just ended up rushing and letting people mint directly through the smart contract, which was pretty chaotic, but we were there to help everybody through it and allow people to get into this first batch of miners. And obviously we've done the upgrades since, and now anybody can go to mine.fullspendyacht.club and connect Zelcore, XWallet, or even Chainweaver, and mint through that. And so it's been really great. It's been a little bit slower than anticipated, just with all of the crazy market conditions happening and buying power getting robbed from us all as we wait for this bear market to find the bottom and turn around so we can all start having more buying power. But with that, we have started to implement cross mint into our platform so that you guys can mint through credit cards, Ethereum, stable coins, and all of that to help kind of combat the negative price action of Kadena. So we're going to have that rolled out hopefully by the end of this week. We are finishing up the final developments and testing it on testnet today, which is pretty exciting, and we should be pushing it out whether it's this Friday or Saturday. That would be my guess. So we're just, getting it done as soon as possible. And the second that we're able to, we're going to be releasing it. So there's more options to mint.
Now, let's go back a few months where there was the big huff about projects accepting anything other than KDA to mint their things. Now, with you guys, all your money's going into buying miners, and people have to realize that these companies that you're buying the miners from don't accept Kadena for for a choice to buy the miners from them. So I never really understood that whole argument of not allowing people to use other cryptos or use fiat itself, because you're going to have to sell those coins anyhow to get fiat to pay for the miners. So what's your opinion on all that?
I agree completely. And even if you're not a mining project, you have to pay for your development. You have to pay for all these different things, and a lot of times you're selling that Kadena anyways. The way we like to look at it is that by accepting different forms of crypto as payment, we're then converting those into miners, which are then supporting the Kadena network and generating more Kadena, and making a all-around healthier ecosystem. So we think that it's more net positive, especially when you consider that any Kadena that we get, we have to tastefully and carefully sell as to not affect the Kadena market and add too much downward pressure. Although we haven't seen that be too big of an issue. So um, we definitely agree with everything you said. And no matter what, we have to pay in stable coins. So we always end up converting to that. And so it kind of weighs itself out. I also think that in a general rule of thumb, even if they're not a mining project, that um, people are buying the Kadena to go and mint, and then if the project is selling it, a buy and a sell cancel out, and it is pretty negligible. Where if you have a big project minting that's commanding a lot of the a lot of attention, and people are minting and buying more Kadena to mint, um, usually it'll balance out by if and when the project sells it. So I think that overall, uh, the net takeaway is that it helps the uh, volume of trading increase, which helps um, just everything, and will help other exchanges list Kadena, which is going to help the ecosystem and everything. So I think in the long term, it is kind of not too big of a deal if Kadena projects take other forms of payment.
Yeah, I'm not one of the I follow pretty much all of the communities, and we saw this issue come up as a very good example of DocuShield. And not to talk down on DocuShield or anything, and even the guys there will admit that they made a mistake in doing this, in that they held the KDA that they got from their IDOs in KDA, and when they got it, it was worth like twice as much as what it went down to. And they kind of felt like, even they said they kind of shot themselves in the foot by doing that, because they have bills to pay. They have to pay their developers. They have to pay server costs. Like, it's not, people think, oh, it's free to make a website. No, not for a website that you need to use for a company. You have to host that. You have to pay for servers. You have to pay for costs. So the argument really is just kind of is null and void, unless you're very small, like, small 2 or 3 person NFT project. Then yeah, keep your money in Kadena and wait for Kadena to pop off. But you guys got bills to pay, you got things to do, so that's just not realistic. And that the community needs to keep that in their mind before they're like throwing projects under a bus because they opened up their mint to other coins or other forms of payment. So very well said on your side. Now, let's talk a little bit about infrastructure. Where are you guys at on actual infrastructure for the mining?
Yeah, so that's actually an interesting question. So currently, we have my facility that I've been mining in, and we've always intended to launch our first batch of miners in that facility, and we can have up to a quarter of a megawatt, so 250,000 watts here. But we've recently, I went to WDMS, which is the World Digital Mining Summit held by Bitmain, and there were tons and tons of hosting facilities. Some facilities were, offering $0 per miner with only 5.9 cents electricity rates, and all these different things, including some that were completely immersion mining, which negates most of the negative aspects of hosting with other people. So we've actually been heavily considering going with a few different hosting facilities and just weighing the costs and benefits of each, where they're located, and all these different things. We're still planning to build our own full-scale facility. However, it, it might just be a little bit more profitable and beneficial if we start by hosting, as long as the hosting facility accepts our rigorous list of things that we want, which would be like self custody of the miners, or custodial self custodial access to the miners, so that we could um, do our own repairs and basically ensure that we're the only ones having access to the miners, so that there's no foul play, whether that be immersion cooling, so that we don't have to worry about the air quality that they're pushing through the miners, because they're in a semi-closed loop system where being submerged in a immersion fluid, there's, as long as the fluid is replaced every 5 to 6 years, depending on the fluid, that's all that really truly matters with that, and it negates a lot of the negative impacts of hosting in air cooled environments. So um, with getting some crazy power rates, as little as potentially below 6 cents, it just kind of makes sense to start that way, and then scale up and basically do what the hosting facilities do themselves. But we definitely have infrastructure already built for our first round of miners and so forth, and we're just looking at different plans to go forward. Like I said, our main goal is really, how can we be the most profitable and put the most hash power into all of our holders per NFTs, their wallets and whatnot. So we're always looking for new opportunities, and ways that it can be better and more beneficial for us all. So that's kind of the most recent overview of um, what we've been doing for infrastructure.
Now, this conference that you went to, I know of it because our CEO, Kobe, I believe, was down there. I don't know if you ran into him
I
down there. He's
did. I
quite the,
did.
you did? Yeah, he's
He's an
quite the
amazing
guy.
dude. Exactly. He's awesome, and it was a pleasure to speak with him. I even got a sneak peek of the Koala wallet. Looks amazing. Has some amazing functionality. Everybody needs to go and follow not only Eucalyptus Labs but the Koala Wallets page on Twitter. Great stuff coming from you guys.
Yeah, we might even little alpha here for folks that we're looking to possibly make a little merch store too with our, because people seem to like our koala logo. So might be able to buy some hoodies, and I don't know if he was wearing any of his koala gear while he was at the conference. Probably his eucalyptus stuff instead. But yeah, we're hopefully gonna have some merch so people can have cute little T-shirts. I even have socks with the koala wallet logo on it that we got. So we were trying different things and decided to try those out.
Maybe a koala NFT coming.
Never know. We're a little bit busy right now building actual tools and things. So
Understandable.
building,
Understandable.
but you never know. You never know what the future may bring. But speaking more about the conference, it was in Cancun. Were any of these hosting facilities, were they all mostly US based hosting facilities, and are any of them like close enough to you that you wouldn't have to like fly to go out and see them?
Yeah, that's a good. So there was a lot there was a lot of interesting places. There was a lot of people hosting in Latin America, Paraguay. We found some people hosting in Russia. We found people located in United Arab Emirates. There was people from everywhere, and it was really interesting to see the different rates of electricity from around the world, and the different places, like the almost extremes. What feels extreme to me, just to get that little bit cheaper electricity, you know, and it was very interesting. There were a few that were pretty local. Nothing to the point where I wouldn't have to fly. However, um, I have family in the airlines, so traveling to a facility is pretty negligible for me. I can just hop on a on a plane for little to no cost and head out there. So for us, that's a little bit less of a concern. We're more concerned with the quality of the the machines and or not the machines, but the hosting facility, whether it be air cooled or immersion cooled, and the electric rates.
It's definitely an interesting idea, but the only downside I see to letting someone else host the miners is that you're pretty much putting your faith all in their controls, that they're going to make sure the temperatures stay right in the tanks, or that the rooms themselves are kept at the right temperature. And like, if something was to go wrong, like you said, if they're in like another country or something, it's not like you can get there right away, maybe within 24 hours kind of thing. But it all depends then on what you can work with the company and what the hosting people are able to do. So definitely lots of options out there for sure.
Yeah, we're definitely trying to stay US based 100%. I think that, you know, coast to coast would be the farthest distance we'd want to travel to, have to go take care of a mine or anything like that. And that's why, we're with potentially hosting with another facility where, making sure that we do the due diligence before we sign anything. We want to see the actual facility, see the tanks, know, just everything about the operation, ensure that, things are getting taken care of, ask about security, see about, there's a lot that can go into that self custody where we could have our own, security cameras on the actual miners to make sure nobody's tampering with them or anything like that. There's just there's a lot that goes into it, and it's it is a lot to ask for from a facility, and that's why it's been a long process for talking with the potential partners and seeing just what's possible, what if it'll align with our goal, and whether or not we're gonna utilize my current facility or if we'll end up doing that. But my current facility is around 10 cents per kilowatt, so some of those a lot lower, almost 50% less. Um, Power is very, very attractive, especially as the price action of Kadena has been going down and down. And um, the KA3s are still the most profitable miner in the world. They are still making a lot of money, but with everything that we do, with being sustainable and only wanting to withhold a certain percent of our mining power to upkeep the miners and replace them, uh, as Kadena goes down, it starts to make those numbers a little bit tighter, and so we're just seeing what's best to do. We're not quite ready to say anything officially, but we are doing the due diligence to ensure that everything's at the quality standard that we uphold for our own miners and in our own facility.
Now, like you said, your initial building and the space you have now is set to for the Genesis batch, the first batch of miners from the pre-sale NFTs. Now, how much of the percentage of the miners, like if you were to completely sell out every NFT, how much does this Genesis batch really represent? Like a fifth of the miners you plan on eventually buying? And let's say because right now with, say, the bear market gets pushed even farther down, and we see another 5-6 months of this kind of market trend, usually along with that comes drop in prices for the miners themselves, because less people are wanting to buy them, so they drop their prices down a little bit to try to sell even more. Have you taken all of that into consideration as well?
Most certainly, most certainly, and that's why it's kind of worked out in our favor. We definitely think that there's going to be fluctuation in prices for miners, and that's why kind of dollar cost averaging in is going to be super beneficial. Some of the Bitmain staff that we talk to, they're certainly going to be releasing more batches of KA3s, and I mean it would only be logical that the price either stays the same or goes down, and of course we're going to be positioned to take advantage of that, and only time can tell. Only time can tell for that.
Yeah, it really depends on the market, and as the way things are looking right now, the market's not in any position to be making a comeback anytime soon. Just we were talking. I was talking 2 days ago with Alfonso from KD Launch, and we were talking about, I don't know if you want to discuss this, maybe just kind of something to talk about, but the whole FTX fiasco and your take on crypto security and what the market needs to do.
Yeah, most certainly. That's a that's a big one. But people probably won't like me for saying this, but I genuinely think that the answer to it is kind of some sort of regulation. I think that if we're proactive in regulation, and that as a community of crypto, we do the due diligence to reach out to lawmakers and be proactive instead of reactive like we typically are. Um, that's going to be the way that we find regulations that don't seem like, oh, the government's withholding crypto or pushing it back or making it not what we want it to be, and instead use it as a tool that can help protect everybody and ensure that these crazy things don't keep happening that potentially affect multiple millions of people. And I mean, you just wish that these big actors would be a little bit more responsible and not take high risk strategies that could potentially blow up in their face. But we keep seeing it happen, and what can we do other than, in my mind, push for healthy regulation that is agreeable within the crypto community.
I 100% agree with that. One person who in the crypto space that I've been following for a long time and absolutely love his opinions on, especially about this whole fiasco, is Eric Voorhees from Shapeshift. That guy has the vision for what crypto needs to be in the future dead on, and it needs to be, even to quote J.P. Morgan, who after this fiasco happened, came out, and I'm just kind of paraphrasing here, saying that it was the centralized people that failed in this case, not the decentralized protocols. So when it comes to the actual like laws that have to be affected, it's not the protocols that are the problem. It's the people running it. It's the companies that are using the protocols that need to be regulated. Not so much like Bitcoin itself doesn't have to be regulated. It's not that Bitcoin's a protocol. It's the people that are using Bitcoin that need to be regulated and looked at. So that's the kind of the balance I think that we need to find, right? That where the centralized people can use the decentralized protocols and everyone is secure and protected.
I agree. And I think also some form of accountability would be cool. I think we all want to see, like, in some form or another, we want the people that did those irresponsible things, those centralized groups, we want to see them have to take some sort of accountability for all the chaos that happened, instead of just a quick tweet saying, "Oh, sorry,
Or
bro, should have
a
done
10
better."
thread a 10 thread tweet of one letter at a time, like he was just messing with
Literally.
people at that point.
Dude, it's almost sociopathic in a way, where it's like, is this really how you're presenting after, like, you've just ruined lives of, like, millions of people? And, like, it's crazy. It is crazy to see. And yeah,
I
no.
think the biggest thing that came out of this that made it obvious is that he's not going to be going to jail anytime soon, because if he was, he wouldn't be doing interviews with the New York Times, still doing like actual video interviews with people. But hopefully, he goes to jail very soon, because that kind of stuff needs to be found out and needs to be brought out. Now, I'm not saying that Binance is an angel exchange by any means. I'm sure the fact that they've jumped jurisdictions how many freaking times kind of is a bit of a flag. But at least they were smart enough to kind of, light the match that started this whole thing by seeing the writing on the wall and seeing what was going on. And it's kind of, I'm not the biggest Binance or CZ fan. I myself have never used a centralized exchange that includes like order books or anything like that. I've used a couple of like fiat on-ramp things, but besides that, I've only ever used decentralized swap exchanges, and that's it. I don't use centralized exchanges. I don't keep any money on them. And even with the ones that I use for like purchasing and stuff, if they have an account, is automatically right to my wallet. Everything is kept in my wallet, in my own control. And that needs to be just the way that everything moves forward. People need to, the not your keys, not your coins thing is really starting to hit home for people, I feel, after this. So it's good. That's one good thing that's going to come out of it.
Most certainly, most certainly. And I've never used FTX much at all, but I'm the same way where, even for our project, we nothing on centralized exchanges, and that's the way that's the way it has to be to, be able to say for certain that, your funds are safe, and especially when it's other people's money, like in our project, so wild times.
Yeah, yeah. Who knows where it's going to go from here? So let's get back to Full Spend and talking a little bit more about what you guys have going on now. The NFTs themselves. At any point, are you going to be working with any of the marketplaces to possibly have them up for sale for secondary sales?
We most certainly will be. However, being in our pre-sale, we haven't actually distributed any artwork or anything yet, and they're just reserves on the blockchain. So we're probably, a few months out from that. Um, and we definitely just wanted to take advantage of the KA3s coming out and all of that. So we've rushed a lot, and um, so we found a really cool way to do a pre-sale, have it be reserves, and then we're currently working on we're gonna have our own exchange within our dashboard, and also we're looking to release that within the next week and a half, and then we'll also be releasing inventory sections and a little bit of a homepage for the dashboard, and then we're going to further develop all of that out. And so those will definitely come first before we start looking to reach out to other exchanges to list. But I assume that, we're going to be on as any exchange that'll let us. I think it's, important to support the ecosystem through that. And yeah, I don't see a downside to being on any exchange that would allow us.
Let's ask the question that I'm sure some people are probably thinking about. NFT standards. Are you guys going to be a Marmalade standard or another version?
Yes, we've been aiming to be Marmalade since day one, and I think we're going to stick to that. As Marmalade still progresses and moves forward, I don't see any reason as to why we wouldn't. Our pack developers are, are working alongside the Marmalade standard as well, and have done stuff with the Marmalade standard. So there's definitely nothing holding us back from that, and I think there's only benefit from it. So we most certainly will be doing Marmalade standard.
Awesome, because that's a question I'm sure a lot of people pretty much when they join a new KDA NFT community or something is probably one of the first questions that they ask, and it's nice to see that. I'm not saying that any of the other standards besides Marmalade are wrong, because people also have to realize that Marmalade and Pact are not the easiest things to work with, and the people were pretty much just working with what they had before Marmalade really started to pick up, and the fact that the actual Kadena team is now actually starting to work a little bit more on Marmalade and get it in full working 100% out of beta kind of position. But like, people still had to build with the tools they had. So being that way, it all kind of started, you have to realize it all started with the base of the Marmalade code. So Marmalade is built into all those other protocols that people built for their NFTs. And hopefully in the future, we can just find a nice way to bring it all together, and that everyone can just be happy all on the same same protocol moving forward, and hopefully that's something like, there's a few things that the Kadena team's been talking a lot about lately that they want to get all tied up. Things like Marmalade, and then the other thing that they've been talking a lot about, and I wouldn't mind getting your opinion on this, since you're a miner and you probably actually use KDA quite a bit, like actually see the interactions and transactions, is chain agnostic, of going where you no longer have to worry about chains and which chain you're running on. I kind of feel myself personally that if that's not going to be built at a protocol level, that it could be built into like a wallet capability. So let me hear your opinion on that.
Yeah. So part of going to WDMS was also being a riding through screaming about Kadena, saying how just getting it on people's mind, and obviously we're built on Kadena, so it came up a lot, and they'd be asking why Kadena, and um, I ended up getting a few people to interact with Kadena, some to go ahead and mint our NFT just because they were interested, and that was one of the main things that I got from feedback of what needed to change for the actual full fledged full scale adoption that we're hoping for Kadena. And I think that chain agnostic and auto chain consolidation, or whatever it is going to be huge. Um, it was just especially when sometimes the cross chain transfers, you have to use the finish cross chain tool. It takes a lot away from the user experience, and I think that um, it's just chaotic. Like when we have our mint, we did it on chain zero just to be simple, but a lot of people would withdraw from an exchange and it would be on chain two or something else, and they'd be like, why can't I mint? And it's just kind of frustrating. And I think that that's going to be a massive thing for um, the ease of use and everybody using Kadena. It's just extra steps that don't necessarily need to be there. And I definitely think that it should be on a protocol level. I think that you could get it to work through a wallet, but I genuinely think for the sake of all of Kadena and the mainstream adoption that we want, it certainly should be on a protocol level. And I think that would tenfold improve the user experience. Just even just being like, oh, where did I leave that 100 Kadena? Was it on chain 0, 1, 2, 3? And it gets chaotic. So it'd be really nice to just not have to deal with that. And I think that that'll remove a lot of confusion from not only new crypto users, but people that are experienced with other chains and then come on to Kadena and they're like, oh, whoa, why do I have to select between 20 chains and all this craziness? So I think it's definitely needed and going to be a super super positive thing for the adoption of Kadena.
Yeah, I know when I first got into Kadena, that was one of the things that really threw me off, was the 20 chains. But the one thing I keep asking myself, and really I don't think I've even brought it out and said it said it out loud. I've really just been thinking about this, is that right now a cross chain transaction can take sometimes a minute up to sometimes 2 or 3 minutes. Now, let's say it builds into the protocol that you're minting on a chain 0 platform and all your coins are on chain 8. It has to fire off transactions, and those transactions still need to be mined, still need to be put into blocks and run through the protocol. I'm kind of worried that it's just going to, like, say you want to pay 100 KDA for an NFT and you have 20 KDA on 5 different chains. Would it cause 5 different cross-chain transactions to send it all first to that wallet and then send to the mint? Like, it just kind of feels like it may, unless they kind of change the way that the chains themselves talk to each other, because right now it's literally 20 separate chains, which is the one thing that they always say, oh, we can handle up to 480,000 transactions per second. And it's like, well, yeah, you could if the chains actually talk to each other, but they don't. So you're literally working with like 4 to 8 transactions per second, if that, on each chain. So I just kind of, I'm very curious to see where they go with it.
That is interesting. I'm not 100% sure how accurate that the chains don't talk to each other. I I thought that they all cross-referenced at least two other chains.
The web itself is kind of, I'm not sure if it's just looking for like a validation on the other chain, if it's just checking and validating, and like each chain kind of has its own ledger kind of thing. But I don't know. I was just thinking out loud of how exactly it would kind of work in that. Um, yeah, just I don't know, just kind of thinking outside the box, because some people have been asking me that as well, because it's like transactions per second is always an argument because of the fact that people, Bitcoin's so slow that you have to build Lightning on top of it to even make it kind of feasible in a purchasing kind of protocol for any kind of real large use case. Whereas Kadena, like right now, people, say how fast Kadena is, but quite honestly, you go do a swap on like KD swap or even a mint for an NFT, it's not the quickest procedure. It's much faster on a lot of other chains. So it's just I kind of feel like there needs to be a balance, and they need to kind of work that out. And one way that I also hear, like I follow a couple of the dev type people, especially I follow a lot of the things that Thanos says, who is kind of a fringe dev outside of the community, but is very knowledgeable on this. And one of the things he says too is that it's the gas. The gas needs to be adjusted, which would also then affect the actual fee cost, because the more, it's just like Ethereum, the more gas you have to pay, the higher your fee is going to be to send a transaction. So it's just going to be interesting to see where they go in the future with this. But Doug's a pretty smart guy. I'm sure he can figure out a way to make IntelliSend work and keep the fees negligible.
Yeah, so I think that the way that I understood it was that it was more about quantity of transactions and not as much about the time per single transaction. So it may take 1 minute for one transaction, but I thought that the idea was with the throughput being so high is that it wasn't that you could send, one transaction 480,000 times, and it was more that you could send 480,000 or whatever transactions at once, and that the layers of change could then enable that to happen, and that it would equal out to be whatever the transactions per second was, and less about the speed per one transaction. But I'm not 100% sure, and I feel like that with the auto chain stuff, that I'm sure that there would be a way to check that. They could have a line of code that basically checks that, say you send a transaction for 100, and you have a bunch of different chains with say 10, 20 Kadena on it, that it would just go pull through the chains that have the least traffic and are fastest, and then it would kind of have a check that says have each chain sent it to the final address with this sub transaction ID, and then once that's checked, it'll give it the final check and say, yep, here you get your mint, here you get whatever, so that it could, instead of having to be, okay, we send it to one chain and then send it to the contract, it could come from multiple chains, consolidate into one transaction. I'm sure they'll figure it out, and not a developer, but that's how I would assume or guess that they do it, where it's but I guess only time will tell. And I think the thing with the increase in gas, my understanding was that we could just add more chains on top to counter the increase in gas. But then again, I'm probably showing my lack of knowledge with the fundamentals of Kadena. But my understanding was that in any instance that there would be, a need for more gas due to more transactions being sent and clogging up the chains, that they could then just, add more chains on it, which would then further dilute the cost per transaction in gas just because there is now more throughput. But I guess only time will tell. We'll see what they do. And, our fate is in their hands.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely, it's a system that isn't really been used much and pretty much is only used by Kadena. I don't know if there's any other cryptos out there that have either copied or followed along with this kind of chain web feature. I'm pretty much super busy with just keeping up with all the projects that are going in this ecosystem. And I'm not a developer or anything like that. I can read basic Explorer information, and I'm just a pretty voice. So I just, I try to just, but I still have these thoughts. I'm sure I'm still learning like we all are, because anyone that says they're an expert in crypto, unless they are, Satoshi or one of the original founders of like people that actually started in crypto 10 years ago, we're all still learning, and there's nothing that, and since we're always growing and new things are being developed all the time, we're never going to stop learning, and it's going to be an experience for everyone. And it's kind of neat to see too, like I'm finding that more people are actually getting into Kadena all the time, and especially with this recent scare, I've been seeing a lot more new people show up in the ecospheres and like in the different communities, and there seems to be a lot more interest coming now towards Kadena. So as we get closer to possibly not a bull market, but possibly a more marketing attention coming to Kadena, because even the team itself seems to be hiring out marketing people and building their team that way, and hopefully being more vocal and more promotive, that once we see this switch over, what do you have any plans for any like marketing promotions in the future? Any more conventions or anything you guys have planned going to? I know I might be going to Miami Decentral, so hopefully maybe you can go down there as well. But just any thoughts on what the future is going to hold?
Yeah, no, and I'm definitely excited to see Kadena growing out their team, especially with marketing. I think that's been a common thing that we've all wanted to see more of from Kadena, because you see like Solana and all these other huge chains that kind of got big before they even had proof of concept, and that was due to their marketing. So always good to see marketing just for the common investor and believer in Kadena. As far as full spend, we're actually working on, I don't know how much I'm allowed to say quite yet, but we're actually working on a tool that'll help just the entire mining ecosystem. And we're hoping that, and we're confident that that's going to bring a lot of traffic through not only to Full Spend Yacht Club, but to Kadena as well. And so, of course, we're always looking for different ways to boost up our marketing. We didn't want to do anything too crazy before we had, our mint open and available, just because it's really hard to keep people's attentions for, super long periods of time. So now that we're starting to get our dashboard out, starting to get closer to the actual official mint instead of just a pre-sale, we're ramping up all of our marketing and different stuff like that. I definitely think that we'll be going to more conventions. It all just depends on timing and what we have going on, and whether we're, prepared to do that at the time. But I definitely have been looking at the convention in Miami, and, a lot of good people are going there. So it's tempting. It's tempting.
Yeah, I personally actually have never been to a convention before, so this will be popping my convention cherry. So it'll be very interesting to see. I'm quite excited, but at the same time, kind of also hesitant, because there's a few people there in the crypto space that I personally hope I don't even meet. some shillers, but I'm sure every convention probably has has a lot of that, because this space seems to attract people that just want to lure you in with shiny things. and then take the prize out of your mouth once you have it. So, uh, but definitely interesting to see where you guys have been going. I'm glad to see that you're actually getting a lot more traction and people are minting. And I'm sure, like you said, going down to that mining conference was probably a big boost. You get to meet a lot of people and actually show them what you've been working on and everything. So let's be, as far as into the future as well. It says that you're looking at hopefully a late December for your delivery of setting up the first group of miners. Now, once these, is that still looking like it's still the case, or have you heard anything about that?
Yeah, that's looking like it's the case. We haven't seen any delays from Bitmain, so it's looking like it's going to be mid to late December.
Now, along with receiving these finally receiving your miners, how long you looking for? Like you get them in, say you get them in on a Monday on like the 25th of December, you get them Christmas Day. How long you looking at until you are up and running and people are going to be able to actually claim rewards?
Time until we get the miners, say we get them at 10 a.m. I would expect by noon, everybody will be able to claim their rewards. Miners will be up, happy as can be. We're going to be doing a lot of that preliminary work to ensure that the second we have them, they're starting to, get turned on, and that it's infrastructure's there. We plug them in, we, put them to our pool, and we start getting rewards for everybody. So it should be pretty much same day that we get them, especially with only having 11 miners. That's nothing that's unimaginable or manageable, or anything crazy. So we should be able to do it same day that we get them. And obviously, we're going to be eagerly waiting, checking that the shipment, making just ready as can be.
Awesome, awesome. Pretty much just because a lot of these miners, if you have them set up right, are kind of plug and play, but you can definitely set things up beforehand. Now, as far as your dashboard, have you guys shared any sneak peeks yet of what it's going to look like? So maybe possibly people can get an idea of what is coming.
We haven't. We have them on the back burner, but we haven't actually released any. That's actually a great idea. Maybe we should tease some of the different modules. But we're definitely going to be releasing 3 more modules on the dashboard, this coming week. So you just keep your eyes peeled, and we're definitely going to see some stuff coming from that.
So it sounds like maybe people should possibly click on your profile, go to your website, and possibly join like your Discord and things like that, so that maybe they can keep up to date and maybe see something neat in the future, I guess.
Most certainly. I think that would be very smart. Oh, and I just thought of this, and I don't know why this didn't come up earlier, but we're actually also going to be rebranding our project. We're doing a little bit of a light rebrand, and I feel like, it's good to state this in as many spaces as possible and let people, know, so it's not too big of a shock. But it is looking like we're going to be rebranding from Full Spend Yacht Club into Full Spend Mining. We just want to, bring a little. We want to bring the mature and serious energy that we have behind everything we do, and the quality of what we do into our, our name and our branding. So we're going to be rebranding to Full Spend Mining here soon.
Let's first, like before you do that, let's recap about where the yacht club part came from.
Yeah, most certainly. So it was a homage to Bored Ape Yacht Club, simply because I saw that they were using NFTs to allow access to a penthouse they had purchased as a NFT project, and it was the first thing that made me realize, wow, you can attach something real and in the physical world to an NFT and give an NFT actual value. It's not just a profile picture. So um, you know, Full Spend was my brand that I went with giving money away and all this fun stuff that was powered by mining. And so Yacht Club was just the homage to an NFT that brings real value that's connected to something real. And I think we've just kind of outgrown that, and that it's a little bit too far fetched to explain that. And we wanted people to see our name and just automatically know what we did and know that we're, not just a profile picture NFT, and that, we do a lot of different stuff with mining.
Makes total sense to me, and I fully understand the whole reason of wanting to change over. Like, I do love the name Full Spend Yacht Club, but when I hear that, if I don't know that you're already a mining NFT, then I wouldn't even guess that, really. That was definitely one of the things first questions I first heard. It was like Full Spend Yacht Club. I'm like, it's just going to be an NFT about otters. And like, but but now that then once I actually looked into it and talked to you guys, I was like, oh, cool. These guys are actually building something really neat.
Yeah, and from a marketing standpoint, there's a lot of people that miss out on changing their lives just by the fact that they may not get the gist of what we're doing, and they'll think, oh, just another Bored Ape style NFT, instead of knowing that we're a mining project that is giving these amazing rates, buying the most profitable miners in the world, putting 90% of our mint income into mining. And so just all of that, can get blown over by just a simple name. And we wanted to ensure that that didn't happen, and that we portray the, same level of uh, quality that we're putting into everything we do. And I think it's going to be fitting, and we won't look back.
Well, I definitely look forward to it. And once you guys have everything all set up, make sure you just shoot me a message to remind me to change things on our websites and make sure we get you all updated. Is there going to be a new logo coming along with this?
There will be. So we're trying to keep it as soft as possible. So, we're obviously using full spend as well, the same. And we're going to try to keep the logo pretty similar, same style and everything. So, obviously, new logo, considering that our logo is the FSYC. Um, but it should be the same style and everything, so that it's not too jarring, and that, all those different characteristics other than the words themselves are identifiable, and, you don't forget who we are, as if you ever could.
Well, if anyone listening maybe might have a question or anything, I'm sure we got a couple more minutes here that we could open this up. If anyone wants to ask, feel free to send in a request to speak, and we will get you up here. But I'm very happy to have been able to catch up with you guys. Great to hear how well things are moving along with you. And I'm looking forward to, once you guys get the first batch of miners and get all set up, seeing more out of it and seeing the changeover and the new rebrand. Seems like you got a lot of really exciting stuff coming up. So hopefully everything goes really well for you guys.
Most certainly, we're as excited as can be as well. I think, um, just based on other projects we've seen, they get a lot of credibility once they start paying out rewards, and people see that everything's going as planned. And we're just excited. It's going to be awesome to pay Kadena out to people, and have everybody start packing their bags, start hearing, once we get into the next bull run, start hearing how much profit people have made just off of, our NFTs alone. And that's why we do it, right? We're trying to impact as many people and positively, both community wise and financially. And, we're just super excited.
Awesome. One thing I noticed that if you follow Kadefi Money, they recently integrated the KMC NFTs, their KMC NFT dashboard into their system. Is that something you may want to reach out to them about? So once your NFTs are set up and your dashboard goes live, they'll be able to have that access? Because I know a lot of people like to use their platform.
Yeah, most definitely. I didn't quite see if, the original dashboard plan with KMC got pushed out, or if they ended up just partnering with Kadefi to, just launch it 100% through there. But I definitely think, depending on the terms for that, we definitely will. I think we're going to try to do all of, everything on our own dashboard to start, including, seeing your live hash rate, um, seeing your rewards occurring actively, seeing the hash rate of the total farm, just different stuff like that. So I definitely think we're going to push to have it on our own dashboard first and then move anywhere else, just so that we have a little bit more control and we can ensure that our servers are running properly and that we do the due diligence we have to on our own part. But I definitely don't think that there's any reason we wouldn't also partner, with Kadefi and have a dashboard integrated with them as well.
One more suggestion that I noticed going through your website, you guys may want to consider adding WalletConnect as an option for connecting with wallets, because I'm not saying this for sure, but I think a lot of the new wallets that may be coming out are going to be having WalletConnect as an option. I've noticed a couple of the different systems, like I think KD Swap and them have added WalletConnect. I think Arcade has added WalletConnect. Because I'm pretty sure WalletConnect 2 was recently upgraded, and I think Kadena actually has documentation for it, if I'm not mistaken. So just throwing that out there.
Very interesting. That's the first time I've heard about this. Let me quickly send a message to our developers. I like that idea.
Just because WalletConnect is one of those systems that, if people don't know, like you hear WalletConnect, you think, oh, like it's just another protocol. It is another protocol, but it's one that's been around forever, and it is the same WalletConnect that you see on OpenSea, on any of those platforms where you see that word WalletConnect. It's the same thing, but it's going to be with Kadena. Now, I know a lot of projects haven't even bothered looking into it because of the fact that there is no real X Wallet. I don't know if they've added. I think they've added full support for WalletConnect now as well. So it seems like that's like, when it comes to mobile wallets, WalletConnect is the main way that a lot of the different systems and stuff use to connect. So just making sure that maybe some other people who are still developing can work it into their plans.
I do like that. Yeah. Do you think that Koala Wallet will end up having that integrated?
Yeah, I can say with a little bit of certainty that WalletConnect will probably be in the wallet for sure.
Perfect. Even more the reason for us to, integrate that as soon as possible.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for joining us today. Like I said, it's great catching up with you guys. Definitely make sure to keep us up to date on once you go with your rebrand, and once you guys are set up and firing on all cylinders, because I really look forward to seeing it. And definitely, once you got your stuff set up and your miners and everything set up, make sure you take lots of pictures or videos and upload them to like your YouTube and stuff, because people love to see mining setups. That's a big thing people like to see. So.
Most certainly. And we're excited to share and show everybody, as we progress and, start turning on miners. So, thanks for having us here. And it's always a pleasure. It's always great to talk to you. And yeah, just what can I say other than thanks for everything you guys do for the community.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. It was an excellent conversation. Make sure you guys go follow Full Spend on Twitter, join their Discord, follow all their socials, go to their fullspendyacht.club website and check them out there. And if you can, mint yourselves an NFT, because hopefully very soon in the future, you'll be getting paid off right back into your wallet with that sweet KDA. So thank you very much, everyone, for coming, and take care. That wraps up another amazing AMA. Thank you for listening. Here at KPN, we strive to bring an open platform for projects being built on Kadena to present themselves to the community. Please ensure to do your own research on each project before investing. Also ensure to follow us on all our social media, from Twitter to subscribing to our weekly newsletter, to ensure to keep up to date on everything KDA related. You can find all the links in the description below. Take care.